If you enjoy some good old down-home comfort food, and you also have a crock pot that you like to use, this is a video that you don't want to miss. I have combined some of our comfort food favorites, and I've taken the help of my crock pot. It is so nice to be able to put something in there and let it do all the work, cook away all day, and when supper time rolls around, you've got your meal ready for you. Not everything is crock pot food, but I can pretty much guarantee you every one of these recipes has got comfort food covered. All right, you guys, let's get into it. If you can get a hold of these Lux brand pinto beans, put them in your cart and buy them. They are so delicious. These are the beans that I grew up on as a kid, and then our stores quit carrying them. I have been lucky enough to find them recently at a store not far from us, and I don't know that I'll do the dry beans anymore as long as I can get these, because the flavor of these is so great. Now I am adding in some little fat bacon pieces. These were the ends off some bacon that there was really not much meat on. It was just the fat. So I had thrown that into the freezer to use to season something up just like this. Putting a little pepper in there. I'm going to let those cook away. Those beans are really, really delicious, and they cook up so quickly on the stove. All right, to go along with our beans tonight, I am making some salmon patties, some salmon cakes. So I use the canned salmon, like I showed you there. I drain off the liquid, pour the salmon into a bowl, like I'm doing now, and I just start gently working through this fish to see if I can get out most of the bones and take off the skin. I have made salmon patties on my channel many times, and I have many videos showing that, but I have a lot of new people here, so I'm just going to show you real quick basically what I'm looking for. Like I said, it's the skin and the bones. You will get the big like spine section there. A lot of times those little pieces there will come out in one whole big piece, and you can just kind of scoop them out and go. Some people leave them in there and crush them up, but I get out everything that I can. I did do a little something different with the salmon this time around, and I'm going to show you that now. You always need an egg or two when you are making salmon patties. I just used one. And then from a previous meal, I had some fried onions and some bacon left over. So I decided both of those would be perfect in these salmon patties. It would be a way to use up some of those things that I had left over. And wow, what a punch of flavor this would add to these salmon patties. And it truly did. So I just used my kitchen scissors, got those all chopped up inside here, and then I'm going to add in some breadcrumbs. I am using just the original. You can also use crackers or take some actual bread and kind of crumble that up and put in. You just need some sort of binder in here to help keep these things together. I'm also using some of this Kinder's caramelized onion butter for some seasoning, and pretty much that pepper here. So once I've gotten all that done and it's just thoroughly mixed together, I'm just going to fry these up in my skillet. You can fry them up with bacon grease, you can fry them up with oil, whatever you choose. I'm going to use just a little bit of olive oil here in my pan. These fry up quickly, and I'm a real big fan of salmon patties. They are just delicious. From my freezer, I pulled out a bowl of mixed greens. I had cooked these previously. We didn't eat all of them, so I put them in the freezer. Let these thaw out, heated them up in the microwave. That was a perfect side. Here the beans are all cooked up, just wonderful. I took out that bacon fat. It did its job and flavored the beans. And I had also a little bit of cornbread in my freezer. So I pulled that out. We served this with the salmon patties, of course, some green onions on the top, some chow chow, a big piece of onion on the side, This is comfort food deliciousness. The following night, I did a roast in the crock pot. I've shown roast on my channel plenty as well, but it's been such a long time since we have had a roast. I'm making this James' favorite way. He likes a gravy that is made from the cream of mushroom soup and either a brown gravy packet or an onion packet like this. Big pieces of dried onion all through it. Just makes such a really good gravy after this cooks all day. Now, we raise our own beef. Our son Gunnar and his wife Abigail have a little farm at their house, and so any of the cattle that are being raised, he takes care of them there. Does such a wonderful job. We actually have a couple that are getting ready to be processed. It's not a whole lot longer, but it's been such a long time since we've had a beef roast. We usually go through those the quickest. I just went ahead and got one at the grocery store, and it was actually really good. I'll be glad to have a freezer full of beef again. Right now we're just down to ground beef, but it'll be here soon. Anyway, this cooked all day. Look at this. The gravy is just so flavorful. I actually, about an hour or so before time for dinner, I had these carrots in my freezer. I had made a big serving of carrots and we had some left over, and I knew those would be perfect for a soup or something along those lines. So I thought, you know what, it's going to be perfect in this roast, and it was. So I put those in there for the last little bit. Now I am making green bean casserole, and I don't know, we like green bean casserole. I guess it's just not our most favorite. We prefer just regular cooked green beans. But every now and then I'll get a hankering for green bean casserole, and for some reason that sounded really good. So I didn't show making the whole thing. I just followed the directions on the back of the bag. All right, here it is, all plated up. I don't know that there is a meal that is more comforting than a beef pot roast. We just served it with mashed potatoes, put the gravy over the top, had a little bit of cornbread left. This meal is a favorite every time. If it were up to James, we would have this at least once a week. Following day, I put the leftovers right back in the crock pot. I stored these in the refrigerator overnight, and I am putting in now about a fourth to a third, I'd say, head of cabbage slivered up, 1 can of mixed vegetables, 1 extra large can of crushed tomatoes, with a little bit of water, and then I just stirred that together, put the lid back on, and let this cook all day to make a very easy beef vegetable soup. So the carrots, the beef, the gravy, whatever was left over was still in this crock pot. I just added to it and let it cook all day. Here's what it looks like. I didn't want to make an outrageous amount that we would eat on all week, which we did eat on this a couple times as it is. But this was delicious. We like a little bit of hot sauce on ours, maybe some crushed red pepper. And tonight we just ate it with oyster crackers. What's great about a beef roast, it can be a cook once, eat twice type of meal. The crock pot did all the work for me today, and the meal just tasted like home. This is how my mom would make vegetable soup. She would use a pot roast. And this reminded me a lot of that. This was another great comfort food meal. Now, all the rest of the video, I'm going to bring you along with me as I prepared for a family night. Let me just say, this was a throwdown, absolute feast of a meal. Things that I hadn't made in a while, but all favorites of my family. I knew they would love it all, and they did. So I'm going to bring you along with me and show you how I got all of this ready for family night, plus an amazing dessert. So on Wednesday evening, when James got in from work, he started working on seasoning up. These are 3 racks baby back ribs. So he seasoned these up with various kinds of seasoning and put these out on the smoker for a couple of hours. And then we brought them in, let them cool off a little bit, wrapped them in foil first, let them cool off a little bit, and then put them in the fridge. And then the next day was family night, and we finished them off in the oven. These were so delicious. James really knows what he's doing on the smoker, and we all benefit from it. Now, the first thing I wanted to get started on was making this dessert because it has a couple of steps and it needs to be refrigerated before serving. So I was prompted to make this dessert because I had several bananas. James had actually went to Trader Joe's and bought some bananas, and that same day I had bought some when I was at the grocery store. So we had quite a few bananas. So I thought of this dessert that we all love so much, hadn't made it in a while, and it's called banana split dessert, and it uses bananas. So I'm working on my crust here. It's 2 cups of graham crackers, some sugar. I can't remember exactly how much sugar I put in there, maybe a half a cup or so, and a stick of butter. You get this all combined. It goes in the oven for about 5 minutes, and then you need to let it cool before you move on to the next step. It's just a typical graham cracker crust recipe. Now, this whole recipe will be down in the description box, so don't forget to check down there so you can see all of the amounts and the steps to take to make this recipe. Now that the bananas are all over the crust, I am going to move on to the filling, which is 2 blocks of cream cheese, and I think it's about a cup of powdered sugar. Like I said, look below for the amounts and all, but that's going to get creamed together really well to get all the lumps out, get it all incorporated, and then that is going to go on top of these bananas. This is a very, very delicious filling all by itself. It's just one of those, cream cheese fillings that's typical in a recipe with a graham cracker crust. Sometimes you top it with, say, a cherry pie filling or strawberry pie filling, things like that. This is the same type of filling as those recipes. And so for this one, it is amazing. We just get this all spread over top of the bananas, and then we're going to work on getting the additional things on top of it to make it a banana split cake. Now we're going to add on crushed pineapple. And I think it's really important when you're using crushed pineapple, if it says for it to be drained, which clearly this one is, you really want to drain it well because it can become too watery and get your dessert that you're making too wet. So put it in your colander. Put that over a bowl and just kind of use your spoon to press that down to really dry out that crushed pineapple so it doesn't cause everything else to be too watery. And then you can keep your pineapple juice for drinking, or if you're making a cake, you can put that in there in place of the water. It's great for either of those things, probably other uses, but those are typically what I do with the juice that drains out of the pineapple. So we've got that spread over the top here. The last thing we're going to do is come in with maraschino cherries and some chopped pecans. I love this dessert. It probably ranks right up there as one of my favorites. It's good any time of year. It's nice in the summer when it's hot outside. You have a cool, refreshing dessert, but like I said, it's a winner every time. While I was finishing my dessert, I had fried up a pound of sausage, breakfast sausage, and about half an onion, and I am making some baked beans. So in goes 2 cans, the larger cans of beans. One was maple brown sugar, one was just a plain bean, and so I got those all stirred together. I'm going to add in just a little bit of brown sugar, some ketchup, some mustard. I'm not measuring any of this. I don't ever when I'm making baked beans. I just put what I think needs to be in there, give it a little taste, season it further if it needs to be, and then this bakes in the oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. These were delicious. You can also use ground beef. Of course, you can leave meat out entirely if you want to, but I like this really, really well with a roll of sausage. It's delicious. decided to also make this package of the little small ears of corn, and I've never done it in the crock pot before, but this is a way that my crock pot worked for me on this night. I put in the frozen corn, about a half a cup of water, put on my lid, cooked it on low all day, added in some salt, pepper, and butter at the end, and it was delicious. This was something I was able to just not even think about once it was in the pot. It worked out perfectly, and I'll definitely do these like this again. I've been working real hard on getting things used up in my freezer. Sometimes I buy things and then it's in there for a little while and I'm like, okay, we need to move this along. So this was something I've had in the freezer for a while, and it was perfect with this meal. And here it is. James got the ribs all barbecued up. He got them cut apart. These were so good. We just finished these off in the oven this day, like I said earlier. The baked beans, I made a couple cans of crescent rolls with butter. I made a little bit of a layered salad where you layer in the veggies and put your dressing on the top and put it back in the fridge. Back there in the back, I have got to show you how to make these potatoes sometimes. They are cheesy potatoes with bacon on the top and olives in them. That might sound strange, but they are so good. They're one of our family favorites. It's my mother-in-law's recipe. Like I said, we ate like kings and queens this night. It was so good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found some inspiration from this video today of some of the things that we had to eat last week. Hope you guys are doing well. Give us a big thumbs up if you enjoy these type of videos. Subscribe if you've not. I'd love to have you. And I'll see you next week on Sunday, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.